For those of you still wondering how is that as soon as you tell your friends about the new dress that you are planning to buy or even window shop online for a gadget or a vehicle, your online space within a matter of minutes start getting bombarded with advertisements for the same products. Well, it is called customer insights and it is legal in India for companies to know what their customers want. Now, what is illegal and was banned in 2020 is bulk data sharing. In 2019, the government announced bulk data sharing policy that allowed the government to sell data gathered from citizens' vehicle registration certificates and driving licenses to private companies. But in mid-2020, this policy was withdrawn due to privacy concerns. In March 2021, announcing the vehicle scrappage policy, Road Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari said that more than 20-year-old personal vehicle will be deregistered from June 1st, 2024 if they fail in an automated fitness test or their registration certificate is not renewed. The vehicle scrappage policy encourages people to sell off their old vehicle in exchange for a newer, more efficient one at a discounted price. So if you have been seeing ads for a brand new car or ads from banks for vehicle loan, it is because it's time for you to sell off that old car and get a new one. Now, whether you do or not, these companies remember the due date for your vehicle because they have your data. In 2014, 6 years before the government banned the bulk data sharing, the union government sold a copy of the country's entire vehicle registration database to a private Indian company called Fastlane Automotive. The deal took place completely under the public radar. Officials in the Transport Ministry also flagged privacy concerns over data sharing and the price discovery, which means that the data was sold to Fastlane Automotive for very cheap.
Data that was shared under this deal and subsequently supposed to be shared under the bulk data policy of 2019 basically relates to the vehicle's registration, and the data fields include information related to the make of the vehicle, for example the type of chassis, right? So I mean there are a number of data fields, but if you actually read those data fields, you might get the sense that the data fields that were being shared are pretty innocuous. But if you look at the 2019 policy, the policy itself very clearly stated that there is possibility of something known as triangulation. So triangulation is a process by which you combine a couple of data sets, and when these data sets are combined, it effectively allows the person, whoever holds the data, to paint a complete picture of the owner of that vehicle. So I mean, technically speaking, the data that was shared by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways with Fastlane in the 2014 deal was completely anonymized. But there were possibilities of, I mean, there was a real danger of the personal details of the individual being leaked. As this is what eventually led to the data deal being scrapped, and also subsequently the policy being scrapped.
So what is Fastlane Automotive and why did they need the government data? Fastlane Automotive is a private company that provides technological solution based on Indian vehicle registration data. They provide a bunch of services to automotive companies, from improving vehicle sales performances to manage used cars. Coupled with other data sets and information available on citizens, this data provides vast business opportunities for bankers, financial companies, automobile manufacturers, insurance companies, marketing companies, and many others. FLA, with the use of this data, can promise to provide better service to automotive companies as they have India's confidential vehicle data. They know which area of the market has a scope for a profitable business.
As far as usage of the data goes, so as Mr. Sarana, the CEO of Fastlane, explained in the story itself, there are plenty of uses, including gaining critical insights into the local auto sector market, right? As far as abuses go, which is perhaps the more interesting aspect of the story, you can actually never tell. There is no possible way of predicting how a particular data set might be misused. Now, when you talk about the data of the of all the vehicles registered in the country, some of those vehicles might belong to individuals of great importance. Now, that's one angle that you can look at in terms of misuse. Another angle is, I mean, it might seem a little extreme, but if you look at media reports during the unfortunate incident, series of incidents that happened last year, which are known as the Delhi riots, you might see some reports that suggested that Parivahan data was used to identify vehicles belonging to people of a particular community, and then those vehicles were selectively targeted during the violence so as to cause maximum damage to people of that community. Now, I mean, I don't think you can actually blame the government for something like that, because nobody foresees something like this happening. But that's also the major issue with sharing data of any kind. You can never actually tell how, when it might be misused.
FLA, by offering the data obtained from the government and selling it to the domestic as well as foreign buyers, the company's turnover increased by a whopping 163 times. The turnover turned from 2.25 lakhs in financial year 2014-15 to rupees 3.70 crore in financial year 15-16. The company's revenues continue to grow till date on the back of this database. A scrutiny of its financial returns over the past 5 years indicates this. In fact, it saw a rise of 333 times over the period under review. Another issue that was flagged here was the grace period that FLA was provided with. The grace period allowed data access to Fastlane Automotive at no extra cost, overruling serious objections from the National Informatics Center (NIC) and the ministry's own officials. FLA had asked for grace period, claiming it hadn't been able to leverage data for commercial use due to the absence of data from one of the 28 states, Andhra Pradesh. Now, NIC officials, as I said, were against the grace period, but the Fastlane persisted and the ministry overruled NIC officials.
As far as the fact that NIC was bypassed during the signing of the deal goes, so the deal originally was supposed to be a tripartite agreement. Now, what a tripartite agreement means is that there are three parties to that agreement. The first party being the owner of the data, which is the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. The second being the customer, which in this case, and the only case ever, was Fastlane Automotive, the private company. And the third party of the agreement was the NIC, National Informatics Center. Now, National Informatics Center is the custodian of the data, and as the ministry itself noted in the files, its duty was to ensure safe and secure transfer of data. Now, when the tripartite agreement came to be signed sometime in September 2014, what actually happened is that the deal was signed between the ministry and the company, Fastlane, and NIC was just treated as a rubber stamp. We know this for a fact because NIC had suggestions to make, suggestions regarding the draft, some changes maybe. And one round of changes were actually incorporated, but the ministry then grew pretty impatient and eventually NIC was completely sidelined. Now, that might seem like just a bureaucratic detail that a custodian of data has been bypassed while signing the deal, but it assumes greater significance when you look at it in the larger picture. So, when the deal with Fastlane came to be scrapped over privacy concerns, it was this NIC which had been bypassed that rang the alarm bells, saying that data like this should not be shared with private players at all.
Right to information, RTIs revealed a lot more information than we just discussed so far. In 2014, after getting the data from Indian government, the FLA then went on to sign a separate and sensitive data sharing agreement with a German company, Manserv. By the time the government of India became aware that Fastlane Automotive had quietly cut a deal on vehicular bulk data with a foreign entity, the Indian firm had already provided samples of the data to Manserv. Nirmal Singh Sarana, CEO of Fastlane, said that the sample shared with the German firm was altered and not factual. However, in his own correspondence with the German firm, he referred to all information shared as very sensitive. Later, Fastlane's agreement with the German firm soured over what the former CEO described as differences in vision. Only after this deal with the German firm went downhill, FLA informed the Indian government about this agreement. When FLA asked the German firm to delete the data they had provided earlier under this arrangement, Manserv refused to get rid of the data. When the source of the data sharing was cut off from FLA, the German company then went on to make repetitive attempts to obtain the data directly from the Transport Ministry. But in 2016, the Transport Ministry cut off the supply of the data to FLA itself as the National Informatics Centre continued to oppose the deal. But it took 2 years for the government to cut the cord. In 2018, 4 years after signing the contract with Fastlane, the ministry decided to spread the word and invite other buyers.
We know for a fact that there were other parties that were interested in availing the bulk data, including some international companies which were obviously not eligible to gain access to the data. But one curious aspect of the whole story is a file noting by Joint Secretary Mr. Abhay Damble, who very clearly said in the file that they have received another application for access to bulk data. This is while the deal with Fastlane was still active, and he said that to go ahead with that application, we must consult the IFD, internal integrated financial division, and get their suggestion on price discovery, which effectively means you already gave the data to one company without any price discovery, but the moment another company applies, you seem to have another standard, which raises some questions.
In 2018 again, Fastlane wanted in, but this time the price was raised to 3 crore as opposed to in 2014 when the price was only 1 crore. Price discovery was another issue that NIC and the officials had flagged earlier. They wanted to know on what basis that the government set the price to 1 crore in 2014 and then 3 crore in 2018. And this price that the government was charging in exchange for confidential data was very less. Let me explain this way. In 2014, when bulk data was sold to FLA, there were 191 million registered vehicles in India. But the ministry had online details of only 49 vehicles registered between 2011 and 14. So let's break it down. 1 crore rupees for 49 million vehicles, that means 20 paise for one vehicle. If they had sold all 191 million vehicles, that means the price would have been 5 paise for one vehicle. Now, this could be even less if license details are taken into consideration. Later, it was revealed that the price was based on the sample contract developed by the United Kingdom's Department of Transport, which kept the rate of the supply of bulk data at £96,000 plus VAT for a year, and the same price was opted for India. Well, it is not clear why the Indian government copied the British contract which FLA's parent company agreed to. Interestingly, the UK's auto sector market and vehicle population is smaller than India's by at least 155 million. So this question remains unanswered.
So when the ministry actually decided to invite more buyers by making a policy public, what happened was that there was an immediate backlash from independent data governance researchers and privacy activists, and also the good folks at Internet Freedom Foundation. They called the policy out for its nature, by the very nature of which it's invading citizen privacy and collecting our data and selling it off to private companies without our consent. As far as the commercial interest in the data goes, there were a lot of requests from research institutes and so on, but a minutes of meeting released in 2020 show that the ministry was processing only one company's request till then. Now we know for a fact that the company that they are referring to is Fastlane Automotive. Now the policy differs from the 2014 deal majorly in terms of pricing. In 2014, the data was being sold at 1 crore a year for the entire data set, and 2019 the price had been hiked to rupees 3 crore. And it must be noted that even this price hike of rupees 3 crore happened without any kind of price discovery mechanism being put in place, and this was pointed out by an official also. Secondly, the policy itself was very short-lived. But more interestingly, Srinivas Kodali, an independent data governance researcher who first got us the documents on the basis of which we are writing this, on the basis of which we wrote this report, he obtained a list of 140 companies that had access to data stored in Vahan. Now, it's not very clear if these companies got their data under bulk data sharing policy or another similar policy known as the NR-Access policy. More curiously, in February 2021, the minister himself, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, actually put out a list of 180 companies in response to question raised by Kesineni Srinivas, a TDP MP in Parliament. So, I mean, that tells you the amount of interest that was present for this data.
Now that the policy is banned, is your data secured? No. The FLA continues to have your data till date. It's because the government hasn't even asked Fastlane to delete the data, and the company which claims international auto giants as customers still owns the dataset. Its website says that since September 2014, it has had access to pan-India registration data. Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari told the Lok Sabha on February 11, 2021 that the government has not considered asking private firms to delete the data shared with them. Sarana denied any wrongdoing on the part of the company. Another problem that we found was that even though the bulk data sharing was thrown out of the window in 2020, there's another policy that allows access to the same data but along with personal details continues to be active without any protection against transfer of data or signing any subcontracting agreement. This scheme is called NR, National Register Access Policy. This also allows some private buyers to purchase vehicular data on a per record basis from the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. Automobile manufacturers and insurance companies can purchase one complete vehicle registration and driving license record along with the name and other details for just rupees 50 to 100.
As far as the digitization of the Vahan database actually goes, RTI responses to RTI queries filed by Srinivas Kodali show that the government actually collated data from states. Now, you should keep in mind that transport is actually a state subject, not a central subject. And the database that we are actually talking about is data collated from RTOs across the country. Now, the data was collated without actually paying the states a single penny, as we recorded in our story. Now, during the process of writing the story and production and just before publication, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, the minister, Honorable Minister for Road Transport and Highways in Parliament, actually made it very clear that they are not considering any proposal to share any money generated from this database with states, despite the fact that all of this data has actually come from states.
This investigative story is not about the illegality of the deal, but it aims to point out the problematic deal with the government signed with a small private firm that went unreported. This story tries to understand why did the government share such confidential information with a small firm with a turnover of merely 2 lakhs. Why did the government share your vehicular data for as cheap as 5 paise? Why hasn't the government asked FLA to delete the data they currently have? It also focuses on the deeply confusing process of tech policy making that involved ample risks for both India's citizens and the government. These questions were sent to Nitin Gadkari, the Union Ministry of Road Transport and Highways as well, but the office did not respond despite repeated reminders.